Okay, I'll start here. Welcome back. Uh, I'll stop talking about therapy. um, yeah, mm, I don't know what you would call like a main. Okay, don't get caught by this guy, please, please, please. Oh. What's happening? Is he gonna catch me? I always keep I always think about whenever I do these episodes. I always think about. It's actually an episode of Wind Waker that the Game Grumps did, where Dan talks about having OCD, and it's always been hard for me to listen to that episode, and I've mentioned it before because I know the idea. Well, it's because Dan, it's hard to relate to him. He got better, and he's talking from the perspective of somebody who got better. And so you're supposed to think, okay, look at this person. He was going through such a tough time, and eventually he got better. But there's a disconnect for me. I don't see. I know he's not lying. He did have OCD, and he was really depressed. But all I see is the Dan who's super confident and funny, and who's in a band and does this Game Grumps show and is super successful. And it's hard to get this word. And so that's why it's hard for me to listen to that episode. But so that's kind of why I wanted to do this. And the idea is just, you can tell that I'm not. I'm being honest. I don't have any friends. I don't do anything. I have a job. And I have my car and my 1-bedroom apartment. So maybe if you don't have a job or an apartment, you might look at me the way I look at Dan, and you might say, well, you have everything. You have so much. But I wanted to do this whole YouTube thing for one reason. It was just offer a perspective of somebody who isn't better yet, who hasn't gotten better. Oh, this is a nice moment. But yeah, anyway, I'm sure I've talked about that before. So I guess those were my two goals: to get better at talking and to actually get better, but to also offer the perspective of somebody who hasn't gotten better, to be more relatable. And I guess if... Ooh, there's Ganondorf. I forgot you see him already at the beginning. And he controls the bird somehow? So I have the Triforce of Courage, and Zelda has the Triforce of Wisdom, and Ganondorf has the Triforce of Bird Controlling. Are those the three? Did I get that right? That's it? You don't fight the bird? Oh, I could talk about the boat. I like the boat. I like that they don't make you have to choose yes or no. That's always been so silly. I guess they stopped in this game doing that. They would give you the option. They would ask you something. Oh, Zelda, can you help me? And you could say yes or no. I mean, Link, can you help me? And if you said no, they would say, oh, but I need your help. So can you help me? And then it's always been so silly. I guess they stopped in this game doing that. Because I remember in Ocarina of Time they do that. I don't really understand what the point of that is. They don't. He doesn't really give Link a reason to. He doesn't explain what he's doing here. If this was a movie, there would have to be an explanation. But it's a game, so he's just like, I'm a boat and I can talk and I saved you, so go get me a sail. There is an explanation for what he is and why he's helping, but they should at least. He should give. If this was a movie, he would give like a fake explanation, and then when he reveals the real explanation, it would be like a twist. But that's not what happens. I'm a sentient boat that's here to help you on your quest. Okay, I accept it with no questions. I almost finished the 1984. I mentioned I was reading that. Listening to it. I do that every time. There's 14 sections and I'm on the last. I'm on section 13, I think. Is he selling a sale? I don't think so. The ending is really interesting of that book. They the character Brien gives like a speech about how the government works. And I wasn't what? The book is such a popular thing to invoke when you're talking about society. People will say, well, we're living in 1984. Isn't what the president doing crazy? What's interesting about the end of the book is O'Brien explains why the party and the current government is different than normal fascism. He's saying they've perfected it, and they've gotten better at it. They've figured out how to make it last forever. And they use Winston as a way to explain how they're gonna. I like how they do this. How George Orwell does it. I'm just gonna be wandering around for the rest of this episode because. So what O'Brien says is the main problem with normal fascism or like totalitarian governments is they kill the heretics, heretical people. Oop. They'll either kill them while they're still being what's the word? Why can't I think of it? Defiant, I guess. They'll either kill the heretics while they're being defiant, or they'll force them to commit their crimes. But it'll be obvious that everybody, that the person who's admitting their crimes doesn't actually believe it. What they're saying. I think at night you're supposed to like steal these or something. He says something like, that's what the Inquisition got wrong, or something like that. They burned the heretics at the stake, but while the heretics were still saying the opposite of what the government wanted them to, so they became martyrs. I think you can just skip through this, right? Oh. I should probably, I don't know, you're supposed to be reading all this stuff and talking to everybody. But I don't really feel like it. So what the party does is they force thought criminals to convince their crimes, but also to believe what they're saying. They force them to become sane, I think is the word he uses. And I don't really understand still how they do that. For the criminals to believe their confessions and to believe that they're in the wrong and that the party is good and can't do anything wrong. So whenever I hear somebody mention, like they invoke 1984 and say, isn't it similar to what's happening now? Or it doesn't really make sense, because they'll say, I'm not explaining this well. The 1984 world is different from any world we've ever seen, so whenever something fascist happens, for someone to say, oh, this is similar to 1984, it doesn't really make sense to me. You could say this is similar to Nazi Germany, but the people in 1984, O'Brien would say that that world is kind of primitive and not very good at staying in power. I don't know. I keep saying this, but just read the book. It's good. I don't. The fact that they have a narrative with like a main character, I don't think it's necessary for them to get their point across. I don't know. They spent a really long time with this Julia character who's not really very interesting, and I wrote down the word societal gaslighting. Who knows what that means? I don't remember what I meant by that. The idea is to just make everybody in society go kind of crazy and just accept what's happening. I think I just need to find a happier topic to talk about. I'm not doing a good job today. And I know I shouldn't mention that, but whenever I'm not doing a good job. You're supposed to like go to sleep or something. I remember. I'll get to my notes next week. I'll just focus on having fun. I have a lot of notes about stupid stuff. Like I watched on Amazon a show called The Boys, which I liked. And I've been watching Glow on Netflix, which I don't like as much. And in Madden, there's this thing called Long Shot, which was interesting to play. But I didn't really like it, but it was just interesting, and I could talk about it. But I'm not doing a good job today, so I don't want to waste my notes on today. Supposed to do something with these pigs, right? Ooh. Okay, I think I should have to figure out what to do. I know I need a sale. Isn't there... one of these places has the sale? Don't remember. Okay, I think I'm gonna end for this week because I should have enough episodes for a week. I wanted to do it a little bit more, but I'm not doing a good job today, so I don't want to. There's no reason for me to push through like a bad if I feel like I'm not doing a good job. I need to do it on Fridays. That's the thing. Okay. Hopefully it came across that I like this game and having fun. But yeah, I'll see you next week.